Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic week wherever you are in this planet of ours. It's been a really, really interesting week, hasn't it, with Mercury retrograde and Mercury playing tricks as he does with communication. We even had a couple of little hiccups here just before the show where, you know, the producer and I couldn't seem to connect. Don't you just love technology to start the week off? But anyway, it's an absolutely sensational Tuesday. And for those of you that follow the astrological cycles, we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the show the full moon eclipse, which is apparently having havoc with a lot of people around the world. My inbox has been full, even leading up to the full moon. But let's kick the show off with the Simply Tarot card of the week, which is the Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords is... It's a really interesting card because one of the things over the many, many years that I taught tarot and still teach tarot, people used to say to me, Amanda, I don't understand the court cards. What on earth do they mean? I can't have all these people popping up in my day-to-day life. And I used to try and share with people, if it doesn't make sense to be the first part of what the card is, which is the court card representing a human being, then always look at the secondary meaning, because 9 times out of 10, it's the secondary meaning. It's not sharing with us that we're going to come across these people in our day-to-day life. But if we were looking at a person, this would represent a young male up to the age of 25 years. Now, because it's a swords card, we would also be looking at it being medium colouring, brown hair, brown eyes, pale complexion, not somebody that has got the dark skin. We would be looking at a Caucasian. So anybody that you would say that's got mid-brown hair, hazily eyes, brown hair, bordering on the lines of dark brown hair to black hair, but has the Caucasian skin, then that's what is represented by the swords as far as colouring. Now, the secondary meaning, which is quite often the case with this card, is speedy situation or finish. And you can see the young man with his sword charged high and he's on his horse and he's going in what looks like going into battle. So he's charging forward. So it's a speedy situation or a finish. Now, I can't tell you how many people will be so pleased that I drew this card today before the show, because everything in everybody's lives at the moment seems to feel very, 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 very stuck. Now, the reasons why things are feeling stuck, and it has to do with planetary configurations, and I know we have a little talk each week about planetary configurations here on the show, but at the moment we're experiencing the phenomenon of what's known as a lunar eclipse conjunct or at the same time as the full moon. Now, let's just sort of get down to some business here. The full moon is a time of the month where we need to release, let go of things, where we look at things that are important in our lives and sort of look at the things that we are ready to release or let go or send out to the universe or whatever little ritual that you want to go on with, and sort of say, okay, this is the time I'm ready to do that. Because the energy this month is in Capricorn, it means it's about anything sort of official. It's connected with official buildings, official things in our lives, governments, banks, debtors, doctors, things like that. Anything that has been sort of weighing us down on an official level that we're ready to release. And sometimes that can coincide with the paying off of a major bill or finding that we're in control of our finances for the first time in a very, very long time. So when we team this with an eclipse, it means that we're sort of more heightened, we're more aware of the things that are going on, and we won't be getting another one of these lunar eclipses until 2021. So we'll have a little bit of a breather of lunar eclipses as such for a couple of years. But this year it's even more important because we have 4 planets that are sitting in retrograde motion or going backwards at the same time as we have this lunar full moon eclipse. So we have 4 planets. We often talk about Mercury, and I spoke about Mercury last week on the show. Mercury retrograde is the planet of communication and the one that mucks up all of our technology and sort of makes telephones not work and our iPads and our iPods and you name it, anything that's technology driven, be prepared. It's not going to be smooth at the moment. People don't have their listening ears on, and we're not just talking about politicians. We're talking about everyday mortals like you and I. So it's a time when we don't have those conversations where we need someone to listen unless we absolutely have to, and don't sign contracts and join up something new unless you fully understand the complexities of what you're signing and what you're agreeing to. Now, this will go through till August 2. So we still, have a few days left there where we've got to really focus on this. We're only at the 17th of July. So we're still in the thick of Mercury retrograde for at least another 19 days. So be very careful about that. And I'm saying 19 days because I think you need to allow a couple of days past August 2 for the energy to really sort of wind down and Mercury to get his momentum back up and going forward again. So Mercury retrograde is one of the 4 planets that's going retrograde. We also have Saturn and Pluto, which are in Capricorn as well, which are sitting there holding hands with the full moon eclipse. So when you add these 2 planets to the mix, Saturn is the planet of discipline, Pluto is the planet of transformation. So here they are all joining forces and having, playing Ring-a-Ring-a-Rosie together with the full moon and the lunar eclipse. So no wonder everybody is sort of feeling very agitated, feeling very stuck, as if nothing is moving in their lives at the moment. It's like every time I try and get something off the ground or get somebody to listen or try and move something along, I feel like I'm really well and truly stuck in concrete. And then to add to the final part of the retrogrades that are happening at the moment is Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion, our lucky planet sitting in Sag, is also retrograde too. So really nothing much can get off the ground at this point in time. If you are fortunate enough, and I say fortunate enough, to get something new moving during this retrograde period, you are extremely lucky, and it would then be making sure that you really, really fully understand the complexities of whatever it is that you're about to launch or that you're getting involved with, that you fully understand it and it really fits you. And I'm not saying it's a negative, Tom. I'm saying sometimes under these particular cycles, we can have the most amazing opportunities cross our path, land in our lap, and have the opportunity to take something forward or be on the ground level of something groundbreaking or new, or a new form of technology, or whatever the case may be. So it can be a very exciting time at the same time. So that takes me on to the candle of the week very quickly. Yes, I would be working with the full moon, obviously, because we've got the lunar eclipse. I started working with my candle a couple of days ago. I like to sort of work with 2 days on the approach, 3 days of the full moon, and then 2 days on the decline. So I did start a couple of days ago, and I wrote on my list this month things that I wanted to release in my life that I felt should have come to a conclusion or should be completed now, as far as anything that was official in my life. And it was really interesting when I really sat down and looked at this, that the things that I thought now that were important, it was time to release. And interestingly enough, I've had lots of phone calls from people that I haven't seen in a very, very long time, sort of all wanting to catch up with old friends and, chew the fat of old days and fun times we all had when we were on the road as psychic expos and things like that. But also it's the time of Capricorn, obviously. So I've been burning my Capricorn candle as well. And this is a time when I think, even though the moon is full and it is the full moon eclipse, I think we can sort of release things, but I also think we can set some new things in motion. And I think that's the important thing, is look around to see what's being offered. Don't just sit there and feel sorry for yourself and say, I've got an excuse to feel miserable because of the full moon and the lunar eclipse and, all these retrograde planets. I can just sort of take the day off or the week off. No, we can't do that. We've still got to actively participate in our lives and keep making sure that we are making progress, that we are moving forward, and be thankful for the things that we do have, that, we got out of bed this morning and we're breathing and we're still able to move and we can still have a conversation. They're all very, very important areas of our lives. I mean, each and every one of us is getting a little bit older each day, and I'm no spring chicken when it comes to that either. I admit that some days, the body doesn't sort of want to cooperate the way I want it to, but that's all part of the journey of life. So it takes me on to the next part of the show where each week we feature someone famous and we look at them from an astrological point of view. And this week we're up to a female actress in Cancer. And it was an interesting concept because there were so many people I could have chosen. But I really particularly chose this woman because I really wanted to share her journey with you, that even though most of us would know her name, I don't know that many of us know that she started out at the age of 5 on the screen, where she had her first role in a movie. And I'm talking about the one and only Natalie Wood. Yes, she was married, and yes, she died tragically, and there's still controversy to this day at how Natalie died. Did she drown? Was she pushed? Did someone try and deliberately murder her? But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the amazing career that Natalie had from the age of 5. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in an Academy Award before she was in her early 20s. By the time she was 25, she had been nominated for a further 3 Academy Awards. That's absolutely amazing for somebody so young with so much talent. She could perform in a musical. She was in many, many, many films, many television series. She could go from a dramatic actress to comedy to in a musical. There wasn't anything that Natalie couldn't do. And she did all of this with such grace and such poise. And I think she was really an amazing role model for young women and still women today to say that you can still be beautiful, you can be feminine, you can do what you love to do, but you can do it with grace and ease and poise. And Natalie truly did believe in the power of love, and she really did love her husband, Robert. She married him twice, even though I think it was probably a tumultuous marriage, because when you've got two very, I suppose, very ego-driven people that really like the limelight and want to be, famous and loved and adored by their public, I'm sure that makes for an interesting marriage. And particularly in those days where men were a little bit more dominant of their wives and they were supposedly the ones that got most of the attention, I think he probably struggled with his wife's fame as well. But I think Natalie Wood will be most remembered, and this is one of my favourite films that she was in, was Rebel with a Cause. And that's how I like to remember Natalie Wood, because I think she gave women a license to be able to stand up for what they believed in, that you can be a bit of a rebel with a cause, but you can do it in a way with dignity, grace and poise. So we're going to take our first caller, if we have one. Yes, we'll have one in a minute. And it's really good because it's my favourite part of the show, where we are able to sort of connect with the public and connect with our viewers and answer your questions. And that's always a very special time, I think, for any one of us here at A1R Psychic Radio. That's what we're here for, is to educate and help people find some sort of peace and understanding. So it's Shania, and you're in Shania, I beg your pardon, and you're in Lindbergh, Virginia. Are you there, sweetie?
Yes, that's all right.
I apologise, I've got all the names wrong today, so just, I'll hope I'll get the next part of the reading right. How can I help you, sweetie?
No, you're fine.
Do you have a question I can work with?
Yes, I just wanted to read, and I've been going through something recently, and it was like a relationship thing, and the person had catfished me, and I just wanted to know what's the whole reason, or I don't know if she had self problems accepting herself, but I just want to know what was the whole reason, and I feel like I was getting used.
Look, the first thing I want to say to you is I want you to stop blaming yourself for any of this. The first thing that sort of jumped out at me as you were sharing with us what's been going on recently in your life pertaining to your question was that I was being shown that this is now over. It's completed, it's finished, it's over. We don't need to sort of try and regurgitate this. I mean, I appreciate that you need to have some sort of understanding. You need some sort of answers so that you can work through this and put it in the sort of past. First thing I want to say is you did absolutely nothing wrong. I feel that you attracted this person, and I'm going to use the word karma here, because I think there's a certain amount of lessons that we all come down to work through this time on earth, and they're in the form of things that we need to to work through or put together like a jigsaw puzzle. And sometimes we don't get all the complete answers to that, but we do the very best we can with the tools and the information and the situation that's presented to us to try and work through this. And that's what I want to put this into, that label of it was karmic. It was something that you had to go through. I don't know that you necessarily will get all the answers out of it. Look, I think in lots of ways, I think she felt very safe and secure being in your energy. She was able to be herself, whether that was, positive or negative. It was there in its full glory. But at the same time, I don't know that she knew what she was expecting from you. It was like, well, here it is. I flopped it all out on the kitchen table. Now you do with it what you want. But I don't know what I'm expecting or what I expect from you or what I expect from myself. So I think probably a lot of this was to sort of tidy up a number of loose ends on a karmic level, which may seem to you as if, well, what was this all about? I thought we were getting somewhere, and then all of a sudden you did a backflip and it's completely different. And now I'm sitting here with more questions than I had answers to, and I still don't seem to understand what any of this was about. And if I can put it into this way, if the two of you have done this dance together at least 7 other times on a karmic level, that's 7 other lifetimes, and there were situations or lessons there that the two of you had to learn together as two people in a life together, this is the tail end of that. It's like the bits and pieces that weren't sorted out in these other 7 lifetimes had to be sorted out in lifetime number 8. And this is why it seems confusing. I think the best thing that you can do is pat yourself on the back and say, a job well done. And now I'm ready to move forward and open myself up to some new and exciting, interesting possibilities that are coming your way. Because I do feel that there is opportunities coming for you. I do feel that as early as September, your whole life is starting to unfold and blossom again in ways that you've never thought. It's been a very difficult year this year on the emotions, but that's about to come to an end now for you. And I think now that you can start to step forward in much more positivity and open yourself up to new and positive cycles that are coming your way. But I feel 2020 is going to be more a year of change, and where you can go into the wishing well, and some of your wishes that you've held for a very long time will be granted next year for you. So I wish you well, and just know that you didn't do anything wrong, even though there's no real great answers out of this. Just accept what I've shared with you, and that will be the conclusion of that, and you can move forward. So we're going to move on to our next caller now, which is Joanne in Monroe, North Carolina. Hello, Joanne. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. How can we help you?
Well, I was hoping, are you a medium?
I am, sweetie, but there's no guarantees in the short time that we've got here on the show that we can actually connect with who you want on the other side. Can I suggest you fire a question at me? If they want to contribute, they will. If they don't, well, we have such a limited space of time. So do you have a question I can work with?
I would like to see if my son is available, if he is around.
Darling, I can't. Yeah, but sweetie, I can't directly say to you I can directly dial up him. Do you have a question that relates to your life? We don't have a direct link to the other side to say, okay, I want to book a call with Joanne's son. That's entirely up to them if they choose to come through. Is there a question I can help you with that's pertaining to your life now?
No, I can't think of anything. No, I can't. I thought that it was you were a medium and you could connect with the other side.
I am a medium, sweetie, but what you've got to understand is that they choose to come through when they choose to. They don't necessarily come through because you've requested it. And quite often people don't want to come through in a public forum either because they're self-conscious or it's not their way of doing things. And if anything I can share with you from your son is I didn't think that he liked making a public appearance. He seemed to be a fairly private person. So therefore, he's not necessarily going to come through and announce to the world, hey, Mum, I'm here. But if you have something that I can help you with, are you looking to sell the house? Are you looking to change your job? Something like that. I'm sure I can answer those sort of things. And he may just then sort of contribute something to that message. There's never any guarantee.
Do you know if my 2 daughters will mend the fences between, they're having an argument between the two of them for several
Right.
years. Will they patch that up?
Okay, in the short term, the answer is no, because they're both incredibly stubborn and both believe they're right. But having said that, I think it's important that both of them have had this little bit of time apart, because they've always been in this sort of competition with each other since birth. So it's important now, I think, for both of them to sort of stand on their own 2 feet. I do believe that they will come back together again. I'd like to say as early as this Christmas, but I don't think it's going to be quite that soon. But I feel that there will be a life event, and I'm not necessarily talking about a negative one or a sad one, that will bring them back together again. And it's sort of like they both come back with this very standoff sort of attitude, well, I'm not going to speak to her and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. But all of a sudden they find that they're actually sort of making a way to each other, and then they're able to sort of connect with each other, and that's a good thing. Let me assure you that you are on the right track as far as how you've sort of not taken sides in this. And if there's one thing that I can share with you that your son is sort of saying, is sharing with me, that nothing has changed. His sisters were always like this. It's just that you didn't see it, Mum, that they were always in competition with each other. And he was sort of almost like the referee between the two of them when they were growing up. He sort of used to stand in between the two of them and sort of try and break up their disagreements. He's not sharing much with me. All he's showing me is he's got this beautiful smile on his face, as if he knows something amazing we don't know yet. And it's sort of like it's his little surprise. When he was little, was he the type of boy that would sort of come in and give you something, like pick a flower and bring it home for you or something like that, and just sort of walk in with a smile on his face? Yeah, well, that's what he's doing now. He's doing that sort of like a little boy holding a weed that he's picked on the side of the road and bringing it in. Look, Mummy, what I've got. It's that same sort of look, but he's obviously not a little boy anymore. But that's what he's doing, and that's what he's sharing with me. And I feel he's going to have a very integral part in getting those two girls back together again. It's like, hand it over to me, Mum. Let me sort it. You know I can do it.
Okay.
And I'll bring you the gift of the girls talking again. So I feel that that's very beautiful. But he certainly is not, he's never not with you.
And
I think that's
so true.
He's always with you. He's always with you. He has never left your side.
Oh. Does he have a baby with him?
Yes, he does. I actually felt there was two babies. I felt there was two babies with him. Two, yes.
These two, do you know if it was a boy or girl or what?
There's one of each. I have a boy and a little girl with him.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
So were they two separate pregnancies, or was that a one pregnancy with twins?
That was one pregnancy, but we did not know if there were one or two.
Well, I feel there was two, because he's showing me a boy and a girl. He's showing me two babies.
The same age?
Yeah.
The same size?
Well, that's why I asked whether they were twins, because I felt they were the same age. They looked, he's showing me two little tiny babies that he's nursing, one in each arm.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
One in pink and one in blue. Right. That's why I'm saying a boy and a girl, but they were little, smaller than a doll.
Okay, yes, very, very little. Very little.
Yeah, like bigger than a Barbie doll, but not a big baby-sized doll. They were little, about 8 inches long is what he was showing me. He's nursing these two little packages, and he's got the most beautiful smile on his face, so he's very happy. I'm not saying he's not happy that they weren't born, but he's looking after them, and he wants you to know that they're safe, and he's happy, and he's with you. And his major message was to you, Mum, I'm going to sort the sisters out. I'm going to sort the girls out. Don't you worry.
Okay.
And he wants you to remember those times when he was little and he'd come to you with the flower and sort of have that lovely smile on his face. That's what he wants. He wants that to be your happy place to go to.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Never, ever.
Well,
I just let him know how much I love it.
That's good, sweetie. Yes, of course, it's a terrible thing when you lose a child. It's something I don't think you ever get over.
No. No, you don't.
No. No, of course you wouldn't, Joanne. But he wants you to know that he feels your pain and he wants you to get on with living. Like, you know, the best thing that you can do to honour his life is to do something really special each and every day, even if it's little, in his honour.
Okay. I'm
Can
trying.
you do that for him? Okay. And even if it's only a simple thing like getting up and sort of saying, well, today I'm going to be happy because I was blessed to have him as a son.